Welcome to the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest-running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world, 12 and a half years strong. Got a great show coming your way this week, as we do every single week here at the PST Podcast Show. I'm Jeff Warren. I'm here with my buddy Eric Leonard, better known as, once again, Edgecombe Stan. Love it. If you're watching on YouTube, it's great. I just keep the name forever. Keep it forever.
Hey, 21 points tonight, man. 6 rebounds. Come on.
Oh, gosh.
20-year-old kid. Like, what's not to be it? Why would we not stand, Jeff? Jeff, as the kids would say.
Yes. By the way, if I hear any more 6'7" stuff, I'm just going to be out of my mind. And now, because us adults actually know like what it is, you know, now the kids are all like,
yeah,
you know what it is now.
I know. Okay, and because of that, it's my job to completely ruin it for my kid.
Yes.
Yeah. My son constantly, I'll be talking to him like, hey, what do you want for dinner? 6'7". Like, okay. You're not gonna eat tonight then. That's the
Well, thankfully it's the 76ers and not the 67ers, you know. Thank God.
But it was for a while though, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got a great show.
We do.
We got a great
Jeff,
show.
Before we start,
yes,
major announcement in the Leonard household.
Ooh.
I have a full-on hockey fan in my house now.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
I don't know how this happened. Not thrilled about
Flyers
it.
With you. Should have put them on the agenda.
I've been sending you texts. My son Vinny and I have been watching the Flyers. He's all in on hockey this year.
Yep.
Tonight he was telling me about Calgary and how the worst team and they have the worst goals against average or league. And I was like, oh, okay. I already have enough stats and sports in my life. It's like,
right.
Not to add this one that I don't totally understand anyway. Like,
look, you and I are busy a lot in our lives outside the realms of this podcast show. Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I tell my children, I only have a certain amount of RAM and gigabytes in my head to be able to keep stuff going. Because I'm almost full. It's almost full. Yeah. I'm almost done at this point here. I don't know if you'd be able to take hockey at this point. Do you know what a goalie is?
I do. I do. I'm the same as you. I only have so much capacity and RAM in my system as well. You know, we were talking about before the show. You and I wind up driving your kids, but my kid everywhere.
Yeah. Yes.
And a lot of conversations in the house, in the car, and at home as well. And they're now filled with 6-7 jokes and a lot of stat talk. You know. We had a full-on conversation last night for about 20 minutes on why Eric Lindros wasn't a better superstar.
Oh, all right.
Yep. He asked me that question. I tried to explain it to him. He was like,
I love that he knows who Eric Lindros is.
He totally knows who he is.
I love it.
He knows John LeClaire. And we watched a 20-minute YouTube clip on the downfall of Eric Lindros and the Scott Stevens hit in March of 2020. March of 2000. And I was, explaining to him, like, he was really good, but he skated a lot with his head down. And he's like, you shouldn't do that. You're going to get hit. I was like, yep. And yeah, that's where we're at in my house now. Now we're having a lot of hockey talk, which
I love it.
Is screwing up the Sixers talk, which I'm sure he's bored as hell with because that's all I talk about. So, yeah.
Well, I love that. Love the kids have YouTube to explore all these different avenues. YouTube is great. Like and subscribe to us right here, folks. If you're watching us on YouTube.
Segue.
Yes. Like and subscribe to us on YouTube. If you're not watching us on YouTube, head on over there and subscribe. Hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. And we got a great show, like we said. So we're going to be getting into some Phillies talk, some offseason talk. Andrew Painter officially on the 40-man roster, as well as a couple other players. We're going to dive into that. Going to get into some Eagles talk as well. And yes, folks, we are going to get into the Derek Gunn stuff that was happening this past week in terms of his ridiculousness. I will just say that. Then from there, we want to talk about terrible and whether it's NBA franchises, NFL franchises, baseball franchises, just how certain sports franchises just stay stuck in the mud with absolutely no vision or plan of success for the future. And for whatever reason, it's okay with their ownership. We're going to dive into some Sixers talking then this week. What we're throwing down on the table, we've got our friend Harrison Grimm from LibertyBallers.com. We're going to be diving into some Sixers storylines with him. Stick around to the end of the show. It's going to be a good one for sure. Eric, let's talk about the Philadelphia Phillies. We had our friend Tim Kelly from OnPattison.com last week jump on, got into some Phillies offseason storylines. But at that point, no moves really had been made. But now the Phillies have added Andrew Painter. They've also added pitcher Alex McFarland and outfielder Gabriel Racones Jr. They were all placed on the 40-man roster for the first time in their careers, preventing them from being selected by another team when the Rule 5 draft takes place on December 10th during Major League Baseball's winter meetings in Orlando, Florida. As if you know, if maybe you don't know, a refresher, players that are taken in the Rule 5 draft, they must remain on their new club's big league roster for the entire next season, or else they must be placed on waivers and offered back to their original team if they go unclaimed. I mean, for us, I think everybody's looking forward to seeing what Andrew Painter is going to do. Or there may be some trepidation as well, because he had a 5.26 ERA and 26 minor league starts in 2025 as he was coming back from Tommy John surgery that he underwent in 2023. He's gonna need to get to another level, of course, this coming season, and I know we're looking forward to seeing him. Everybody in Phillies Nation is looking forward to seeing what he's going to do from the mound. McFarland also missed 2024 season as he was recovering from Tommy John surgery as well. Had a 4.84 ERA in 28 outings between high A and double A. 24 years old, and he was used out of the bullpen at the end of the season with Reading, and has really high strikeout capabilities. And finally, 24-year-old Racones, he spent the season in AAA. I actually saw him a few times at Coca-Cola Park. Hit 18 home runs in 119 games, has a lot of power, but his Achilles heel, and we've seen this in Philly from a number of players before.
He's a lefty.
Oh, yeah. Only batting 107 with 0 extra base hits and 65 plate appearances against lefties. So who knows if he's going to be part of a platoon at some point in the future in terms of the outfield with the Phillies team. But I think overall, I mean, we're going to start hearing some, hot stove talk and stuff during the course of these next couple months. And it's good to know that Andrew Painter is going to be coming up. It's like, I feel like we've been waiting 10 years to see Andrew Painter on the mound. The Tommy John surgery sucked, Eric, but we're finally going to get to see him in 2026. And I'm really looking forward to it. Fan base is as well.
All right. Just 3 random thoughts real quick about baseball before I go into the Painter thing. Number one, is every young pitcher just required to have Tommy John at this point?
I think so.
The guys are throwing so hard now, and such a young age, and if you're 6'7", if you're 6'7", 200 pounds, and you're throwing 100 miles an hour, you're gonna throw your arm out eventually. It's just wild that every player now gets Tommy John. It's like, well, let me get that out of the way.
Get it out of the way. Yep.
Like puberty or something, right?
Yeah.
Really bizarre. The other thing is the Rule 5. Does baseball have the weirdest rules in all of sports?
They do.
I think they do. The Rule 5 thing is so weird that the team has to stay on the roster, but they can go back after that.
I don't know the rationale for it. Why do we have to have it? Why do we have to have this thing?
I don't know. And then the rule of arbitration where a team owns a player who's 28. But if I was a major athlete, I could pick from all 4 main sports. I would never pick baseball.
Yeah.
Just because it's so weird. I mean, you have the biggest probably chance at longevity, but I don't know, just really strange. And why do they call it hot stove?
I don't know that either. I got to talk to my friend Josh from the Reading Hot Stovers.
That's true. Yeah, our buddy Josh. Yeah, he would probably explain it to us the best. But I don't know why they do that. No, thank God he was definitely gonna get protected regardless. But you're right. It feels like it's been a coronation for 2 or 3 seasons with this guy.
Yeah.
And I was hoping he was going to get called up after Wheeler went down with blood clots.
Yeah.
And they might need him next year, right off the bat, which is, I'm hoping they do need him. I hope he can step up to fill in for Wheeler because I don't feel like he's going to be able to pitch next year for quite some time, actually, based on his surgery and the injury. It's a weird one.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to lose Ranger Suarez, so he's a lefty. He's going to fill in that spot. So I'm really hoping he can compete and earn that spot on the team, because they're really going to need him, because again, losing Suarez is such a. I've been looking recently at like MLB, like top free agents, and Suarez keeps moving up the top 10.
Oh yeah.
And it just makes me think like we have no shot of bringing him back, because they're going to re-sign Schwarber. I think that's probably going to happen for sure. I think Real Muto is going to move, from what I'm hearing. There's a lot of interest across the league. I know. I'm just saying. Yeah. And what I'm reading from Jim Bowden and Jeff Passan from ESPN, good chance he moves. And then Suarez is kind of the wild card. There's a lot of good arms out there in free agency, but like Suarez might be one of the best ones. And if they can't re-sign him and there's no Wheeler, you're in a huge ditch early next year. So a lot of pressure on this dude, which he should be up to it at this point, being the top prospect for the Phillies for 2 years now.
Yes.
And having all the talent in the world. We're going to do our Phillies, preview show here eventually.
Yeah.
I think Painter's probably whatever categories we have, he's probably going to hit a couple of them. Who has to step up the most? It's hard to put that on a rookie, but like he might be number one.
He might. Yeah, exactly. And my only trepidation is the fact that he struggled with his control in the minors last year. He was inconsistent. Maybe he just needed to get out the yips after Tommy John. So, you know what I mean? Maybe he just needed to kind of get out the yips, and we're going to see something solid coming from him. But that's a bit of concern that I have with him.
No, I completely agree. And not just him, but like what we watched in the playoffs this past year, like they're getting older. You can see it. It's happening. It's not just him. You got to have Crawford and Miller step up this year too.
Yeah.
I'm hoping at least one of those guys makes the opening day roster. Maybe not a starter right out of the bat. Yeah. I'm hoping all three of them are on the opening day roster. But like, I think this is the year where like you have to have your farm system step up and like actually produce some players, because this team is just getting older and older, and there's no one in the pipeline. We have the older guys. There's only no one in the middle. Stott and Baum, if Baum comes back. Yeah. Like we don't have much in the middle. Like those young guys got to step up this year and finally bring some like energy and some juice to this team, because like it felt pretty stale after the playoff.
Absolutely.
After the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you're thinking about this storyline here with the Phillies. PhiladelphiaSportsTable@gmail.com. Love to read your email here on the show and respond to it. Let's move on to the Philadelphia Eagles now. The Eagles are 8-2, Eric. They are at the top of the NFC. If
pretty good.
Pretty good. If the playoffs were to start this week, they would have a first round bye. Has it been pretty? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. A dominant defense, a Super Bowl caliber defense. Yes, absolutely. And it's been amazing to watch. But the offense, still ridiculously predictable, and it is their biggest problem. And I really hesitated to dive into this, but and pull back the curtain, folks. We talked about it before hitting the record button, but we're going to discuss, because it has to be discussed, the ridiculousness of Derek Gunn this past week and some of the comments that he had made. And we're gonna put up some of these comments from a transcript of the conversation that he was having with some folks. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but second paragraph right here, he says, you look at a lot of quarterbacks, they're going to sling it. They're going to try to throw it through the eye of the needle. Sometimes you just have to take that chance. That's not his game. He's talking about Jalen Hurts. I should have prefaced this by saying he was shitting all over Jalen Hurts. It's completely shitting all over Jalen Hurts, how he is not necessarily the type of quarterback that we all think he may be, that he is not going into each game doing what they do in practice, and that apparently Derek Gunn has these sources behind the scenes that are telling him that everybody is, or that a lot of folks, I should say, not everybody, but a lot of players are pissed off with Jalen Hurts. He goes on to say, that's why he stands back there. A lot of the time he's patting the ball and throwing the timing of the offense off. The rhythm is thrown off. They can't get him out of it. And then he says, and this is towards the end of this transcript here, he says, I'm basically telling you there's a lot of people in that organization that are frustrated with the quarterback situation right now. It makes me laugh reading that sentence. But the quarterback understands he has them over a barrel. This is almost Carson Wentz part 2. Dear freaking God. They're not going to eat this kind of money yet. That last few sentences, that last paragraph there, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the transcript here, is some of the most ridiculous shit that I have read. Frustrated with the quarterback situation right now. When this guy is playing, dude, we've been watching Jalen Hurts now for how long? You know, it's not just that he's a Super Bowl winner or a Super Bowl MVP or the runner-up to the National Football League MVP last season. It's not just that he has continued to grow as a quarterback in certain ways. And yes, the offense is struggling this year, but it's the fact that in key moments, he comes through. He absolutely comes through. And you know what can also be true? And our good friend BLG said this on bleedinggreennation.com. 2 things can be true at the same time. He can have points of time within a game where he can struggle, but he can also be great too during times where they need him to be great. This is such bullshit, in my opinion. Derek Gunn sucks for this crap. And I swear it's the Philly sports media and talk radio that dives into these type of narratives. And it drives folks like us independent podcasters and other podcasters. We feel like we need to talk about it because it is a dumb narrative. And this is what Philly sports has become over so many years. But this is bullshit. This really is. This team is 8-2, man. They are playing at the offense is not playing at a high level. They are predictable, absolutely predictable. We know when Dallas Goedert is going to be running that tight end screen. We know when
Will Shipley.
Yes, Will Shipley, our buddy Josh Schuster, said it on the post-game show this past week. He's listening to Merrill. Whenever Will Shipley's in, it's going to be a pass play. There are certain plays. There's like 4 or 5 pass plays in the playbook, it seems like, at this point. That is not on Jalen Hurts, folks. It's not on Jalen Hurts. Eric, I don't know what you think of this dog shit narrative. I don't know. It's
so I'm a Philadelphia media historian.
Yes.
And my dad in the house when I was growing up listened to 610 all the time and would actually get the daily news delivered to our house in Lebanon County. So I'm well versed in how this works. Like there's your positive reporters and there's your negative reporters.
Yeah.
And the worst situation is when a team is really good, but they're kind of boring. And that's what we have here with the Eagles.
They're boring because of the predictability. I think that's important to point out. Yep.
Yeah. The defense is awesome right now. The past 2 weeks with Nakobe Dean, the addition of Jalen Phillips.
And let's mention too, if you don't mind, Jordan Davis, the first Eagles player to ever win Defensive Player of the Week and Special Teams Player of the Week.
I was going to mention the 2 tackles.
You were? Okay.
Like the 2 tackles are just insanely good. I actually saw Cowboys fans talking about their 2 defensive tackles after destroying the Raiders of all teams, which we might get to later in a later topic. But like, I was just like, one of our tackles is better than both your tackles. Like, just shut the fuck up, whatever. But this is just this is a classic Philadelphia media situation where they're bored and they're just they're going to come up with narratives based on half truths, innuendo. Like, I heard this, I heard some. It's the classic Trump shit, right? Like, people are saying, it's like, who?
People are saying.
Can I fucking hear who's saying this? Like,
yeah, exactly.
And you have a reporter like Derek Gunn, or media personality, who, no offense to D Gunn, I'm a huge fan.
I've always been. Yes.
He's been a mainstay in Philadelphia media for a long time. Like, he was longtime writer. He was always on post game for the Eagles for years. He was on Philadelphia Sportsnet all the time, but he's not now, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even know what show he's doing now, but like I watched the footage of him talking about this, and I was kind of like, "What show is this? I don't even know what this is." Like,
is he on the Jacob Sports things? Jacob Sports or something
like that? Yeah, it's almost like Marcus Hayes, who's like kind of aged out of his media role. He does like one article a week, and it's always like, I'm going to try and stir up controversy, and it gets lamer and lamer every year with this fucking guy. Yeah. By the way, I used to go to the gym with him, and he wore these like really tight running shorts.
I love that story you tell. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like way too tight, and he would run like with purpose and like he's sexy. And I was just like, you're fucking gross. So anyway,
really quick.
Yeah.
Derek Dunn, he's the co-host of Bet Parks pre and post game shows at the Parks Casino. That's what he's doing.
So he's like the celebrity who's out of Hollywood, hanging out in Vegas, hosting. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
these guys got to come up with like bullshit. And this is a classic, like, this team's boring. What do we talk about? The offense is boring, but like no one wants to hear about Kevin Poo-Poo-Hole's offensive like setups and like what can they do better? That's not interesting. That's not ESPN, right?
Yeah.
And so they got to go with, well, I'm hearing the quarterback's kind of a jerk. Oh, wide receiver's not happy with him. Whoa.
Yeah.
And and they did the same thing with McNabb back in the day. After like he kind of started to fall down a little bit. And that's the difference here, right? Like they went all in on McNabb, attacking McNabb after the Super Bowl loss in 2005, and things kind of started to fall apart. And like that's when they attacked. In this case, it's the Eagles are too good for any of this shit to even be like accepted at this point, in my opinion.
And they're a relevant franchise. They've become like one of the most relevant franchises in the NFL.
The Eagles were careening towards not being one after 2005. They had the 2008 season, but like, and it took them a long time to become relevant again. And one of the huge reasons why they're relevant is this Jalen Hurts, by the way.
Yeah.
Drafted him in 2020. The guy has had different offensive coordinators every year of his career from college to now.
Yes.
And I just want to remind everybody, he won the Super Bowl last year and the MVP. He was a runner-up MVP. I think you talked about this already. I'll stop. But this season, I know he's boring, guys, right? He's really boring, and he's kind of a jerk. Apparently, he's kind of a self-righteous kind of, he's annoying people in the locker room, like Carson Wentz. Like Carson Wentz apparently tried to force guys like pray and stuff and like talk about God all the time.
Yeah.
Well, he also didn't win. Huge difference here. This guy's a leader, and he has 16 touchdowns, 1 interception this year. He has 6 rushing touchdowns. He's one of the key components of the offense. He's not a gunslinger, and I'm not sure if Philadelphia will ever accept that. I do as a fan, because when he does gunsling, he throws interceptions. We've seen that his entire career. This is a more balanced, leveled quarterback play, and this is kind of what I want out of him.
Yeah.
And if it makes for a boring offense, I don't put it all on him. I do think he's hesitant at times to not make mistakes, but he's not making mistakes to hurt the team.
He's not turning the ball over. Jesus.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when he turns the ball over, he sucks. Yeah. We all know that. That should be the biggest criticism of him. Not that he's boring and not turning the ball over. That makes no sense to me. Now, as far as the personality stuff goes, that is classic Marcus Hayes, Philadelphia media attack stuff. I just want to make a name for myself in the paper, on TV.
Yeah.
And
to have every podcaster talking about it. Seriously.
Yeah. But like, I want to poke holes in it. Like, a lot of people are like, I've heard people are saying that people are agreeing with this. Like, I've seen some people on Twitter and stuff like they're saying like, oh, I agree. Like, there's a problem here. I just look at it as a historian of this stuff, and I'm just like, you guys are just fucking bored and trying to get your names back in like actual legitimate media. D Gunn, you're at a casino. Marcus Hayes, you write one article a week. Like, you don't mean anything anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is their way to try and get back into the news, and it doesn't work for me. Like, I think dumber people would be like, oh my God, there's a problem in Philadelphia. Oh, I know. We're the 1 seed with a bye right now, 8-2. we're going into Dallas, who's 4-5-1. We're going to kick the shit out of them because our defense is awesome.
Yes.
And all it takes is like 2 straight offensive like juggernaut games.
Yeah.
And all this bullshit goes away, and they're fully capable of it. So
yeah, absolutely. Look, one of the writers over at bleedinggreennation.com, we've had him on the show too. I think he actually lives in England. Johnny Page, great follow on Twitter. If you're not following him, everybody over at bleedinggreennation.com is. But he said in a tweet this past week, he said he finally finished watching the all 22 of the offense. He said Hurts obviously was not amazing. He said, but if you watch the film and come away with the idea that the quarterback is the issue, I don't have a clue what you are watching. This is what he's saying. He's saying, without sounding blunt, I think it's incredibly obvious that the design just isn't good enough. I don't think it's that difficult to spot the issue, or that the issue lies with the design rather than the individual, you know? And Johnny Page, if you know him, you know, he's not some jerk off guy. He's just not some jerk off trying to get clicks for this, trying to get clicks for that, trying to just get into the news. This is a guy who genuinely, for a sports channel and for what he does, watches the all 22. The guy knows his football. There's a lot of folks out there too who know football well, who watch this stuff and can understand what's happening. You know, because of digital media, we've all gotten better with this stuff. We've all understand football, and it just amazes me that we're still at this, man, and that some people out there still take the bait, man. Oh.
I think the rule is that the world is still filled with idiots.
Yeah.
And it will always be.
Yes.
We have some of the greatest stats and highlights at our fingertips.
Yeah.
At different camera angles, for God's sakes.
Yes.
Like, I watch Baldy's stuff, the all 22 stuff. It's all over the place. You can watch every angle you want.
Yeah.
and Hurts doesn't make mistakes. Philadelphia, the fans who were doubting him. Let me go over Jared Goff's stats from Sunday night. Would you rather have this? 14 for 37, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, QBR of like a 9. Okay, is that what you want? Is like, if you watch the game, it was even worse than that. His QBR should have been negative. Yeah. He was scared to death. He was throwing the ball all over the goddamn place. Eagles should have had more interceptions than they did. He was horrendous.
Yeah.
And would you rather have that? Some guy just gunslinging it because he's just trying to get him down the field? Like, yeah. No. Like, you see what happens. They scored 9 points, and they barely scored 9 points. And again, the Eagles defense right now is amazing. I'm not taking it like that is a huge part of like what why the team's so good right now. But like, the criticism of him is just it's early November. There's how many games left? What, like 7 games left? Yeah.
We're heading into week 12 here.
They're bored.
You know? Yeah.
They're bored. And there's nothing else to talk. There's like, I'm sure in Chiefs land, there were weird stories about Mahomes at some point, or some player on the Chiefs. I'm sure it was the Kelsey guy because of his fiance. But when they were winning Super Bowls, there was probably the same kind of stories going on in Kansas City because they were too good and they were winning all the time. And like, what do you talk about? I mean, how many articles can you write? Like, this team's awesome.
Yeah.
Period. Like,
because you need negativity in the press, negativity,
and especially
sells.
Here.
Yes. Yes, it absolutely does. All right. I can't talk about this crap anymore. This team is good in many ways, and it's not good in other ways as well.
Anytime I can get the Marcus Hayes biker short story on the treadmill at the gym, I will always tell it because it was disgusting.
It's a great story. I love it. Let us know what you're thinking about this Philadelphia Eagles team. We'd love to read your email here on the show, philadelphiasportstable@gmail.com. And we are going to take a break here. And when we get back, we're going to dive into some terrible franchises, some terrible sports franchises, get into some 76ers talk as well. Stick with us. We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and let's now dive into some sports franchises that are really stuck in the mud. They have no vision, no plans for success in the future, and I'm always amazed by this. I put this on our agenda this week, Eric, because I was thinking about the Washington Wizards. I was thinking about the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, there's so many out there. The Colorado Rockies, the Cincinnati Reds. There are so many sports teams that just remain stuck in the mud. They're always at the bottom of the barrel. The New York Jets, our buddy Dave, his team. I mean, he is convinced he is never going to see a Super Bowl win, and that may not happen at this rate. He's going to be 50 years old next year. I don't know if it's going to happen. That being said, like I think about this, and I think in the context of what would it be like to be a fan of some of these teams where the ownership just doesn't give a shit. The ownership is happy to just make the money that they make without really having that concept and vision for the future that could really give their fan base, whether it's something to look forward to, further engagement, whether it's even the ability to make more money, because when you have success, more money does flow to an organization. We've seen it with the Philadelphia Eagles time and time again, the Philadelphia Phillies as well. I'm just amazed by the short-sightedness of some owners in sports and some of these teams that are just, I would say, satisfied with just staying where they are right now, without trying to do much of anything. My gosh, the Pelicans, for God's sake. what a terrible organization. The Jacksonville Jaguars have a top 5 paid quarterback in the NFL. They're not going anywhere. Just terrible run organizations. And it never ceases to amaze me that there's no vision or plan of success for these teams. I don't know if you've ever given thought to this.
Oh my God, all the time. I love bad organizations. It's almost as fun. It's almost as much fun following like bad ones than good ones.
Yeah.
Because we
like the negativity. We're going back to the negativity, right? We need that.
But we've also had that in Philadelphia for a while. Like there was a period of time where you looked at the Phillies, you're like, is this over? Like I know we've been in a team for like 50, 60 years, but like
2014, 2015. Ooh.
Well, I'm talking like mid 90s, where it was
mid 90s, yeah.
93 happened. It was like, oh my God, this is like
96, 97. Oh
yeah, you go to the vet. There's 10,000 people there. You're like, what are we doing? Like this is ridiculous. I mean, the Sixers had the process of course, but at least there was a plan there. But I was there in the mid 90s. I went to a bunch of games for the Sixers, and you're just like, they traded Barkley, didn't have Iverson yet, and you're like, this is a disaster. I don't know what I'm doing. And as a fan, you're like, why am I paying for this? Why am I watching this team? But thank God we don't have any teams in this town. Like you talk about the Wizards, the Browns. It's got to be the worst feeling as a fan. Like we bitch on the show all the time about being Philadelphia fans with the negativity involved and everything. But at least we're not Kings fans. Or Sacramento Kings, where at least we're not Pittsburgh Pirates fans, right? I respect the Pittsburgh Pirates, lived there for a while, but like, it's such a numbing, awful feeling. I really do think just
you feel bad for the players, like the Pittsburgh Pirates players, the guys who get drafted there or go through the farm system, or or for whatever reason they get brought in free agency. I feel bad for those players. I actually feel bad for them.
They probably get drafted knowing, I'm going to be on the Yankees or Mets or somebody in like 4 years or 5 years.
Right.
Like, I sorry to our Pirates fans, friends.
Yeah.
Skeens ain't going to be there. It's just not going to happen. Like,
nope.
Eventually he's going to be like, I'm throwing 105 miles an hour. I'm winning the Cy Young. We're winning 55 games a year. What am I doing? I don't want to stay here. Like,
right.
And if you pay me all this money, I'm a competitor. We're not going to win here, so I'm not going to fucking stay and take your money. Like I'll leave and take an extra. He'll make more money anyway somewhere else. But like, no, I do think the saddest franchise. I think there's a couple of categories of sad franchises. One, I think the saddest franchises, the bottom, like the absolute bottom, are the teams with no history whatsoever in their city, no history of winning, never won a title, and have no fans, basically. So we're talking the Pelicans. The Pelicans are probably the worst out of all these teams, I think. They have a horrible GM right now. He traded their first round pick for next year in a killer draft. It's Joe Dumars, who's an awful GM. They're probably going to have to move the franchise eventually. And they're owned by the guy who owns the Saints, who's a bazillionaire, or the woman who owns the Saints.
Yeah.
Who doesn't care? She's like, I love the Saints. You guys do whatever the hell you do with the yogurt arena. It was the Smoothie King arena at one point. I don't know what the hell it is now. I think it's a casino, but like, that's pathetic. Like that is really sad. Sacramento Kings never won anything. The Brooklyn Nets are pathetic as shit.
It's terrible. Yeah.
They had a horrible draft. Their best player is Michael Porter Jr., who sucks. Like, I don't care what you say. He has a ring.
I knew when they took Ben Simmons, like at that moment, I was like, you know what? Like they really have no vision for the future at all.
No, they had 2 years of proof.
Yeah.
And they still signed him. So that's what you get there. I mean, they're in New York, and they're like the fourth best basketball team in New York City. Like New York, like that's really, really pathetic. I think the Wizards, out of all those four, I think I'm looking at the bottom of the standings right now in the NBA. Those four teams are at the bottom.
Yeah.
And they are every year. Like it's just year after year, like the Pirates. I think you mentioned the Reds. The Reds have had some success, but it's kind of borderline. But they at least have a history, right?
They do. Yeah.
And that's what's really sad about that. But hold on, the NBA, the Wizards actually have kind of a plan here. They have a new ownership team, GM. They actually have a history. They won the title in '79. That actually means something to me. Like if you actually won at one point, they have some decent players. Maybe there's a vision there, but like the Pirates really suck and are annoying because like what a history. Like you won in '79 with the We Are Family team. You had that tremendous success in the early '90s. Yeah. Never quite got there. They had awesome success in the early 2010s with my God, what's his name? The center fielder. He played for the Phillies. Sorry, I'm blanking.
Dude, we
McCutcheon,
talked earlier.
Sorry.
McCutcheon, yes.
Yeah.
I only have so much RAM in my brain anymore.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I have Calgary's goals against stats in my head right now, the Flames.
Yes.
But like that's one of the saddest ones too, because like you have quite the history. You're absolutely in a baseball city. Like I know it's a Steelers town. Penguins are there too. And that's why it's also sad too, because you have two franchises there that are consistently competitive.
Storied franchises. Yes.
Storied. Yes. Huge. Like, I mean,
yep.
But so are the Pirates. And like, I know you're a small market team, but like, why do your other teams do so well and you don't?
Yeah. Yep.
And then, to football, my God, the Browns, it's so sad. Like I saw the top story on ESPN today. Shedeur Sanders is starting for the Browns. I'm like, great story. You're going to lose. Like who gives a shit? Like right. But we're in the news. We're going to make some profit. We're going to make some stock market stuff. Like, but you still suck.
Yeah.
And your fans love you, but they hate you at the same time, which is like, you're never going anywhere. The Raiders are horrible. Like I'm thinking about this perspective of a fan, and I just don't know how you pay to go to those games, how you like wake up positive about your team ever.
Yeah.
And if you don't have other teams in your town to cheer for, like the Raiders, they're in Las Vegas. Like, what do you do as a fan? Like every week you just be like, this week sucks, but I'm going to keep cheering. I'm going to keep putting on my my spiky, my huge helmet, and we're going to lose by 30 points. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, you look at the Cleveland Browns, their 2025 draft, the fact that they took a quarterback in the 3rd round and then took another quarterback in the 5th round. It's just, you knew at that point, they're just trying to throw something against the wall to see what sticks. That's not vision for the future. That's ineptness.
Joe Flacco's our age, and he played quarterback for them. Like,
yes,
I know he played for the Bengals, and that was by necessity. But like, I just can't imagine being and they had their team stolen at one point.
Yeah,
like what a disaster.
That's a good point.
I think the whole point of this thing is like, all of you Philadelphia fans, based on our last topic in this one, just shut up. Be happy.
Yes.
We have Jalen Hurts. We got Edgecombe and Maxey. We have Mitchkov.
Yes. Matvey Michkov. Yes.
Yeah. We still have Couturier. I've been watching the team. We have Zubov and Mavov, and we're good there.
Mavov and Zubov. Yes, I love it. Look, you mentioned Maxey. You mentioned the Sixers. Perfect segue into the last segment and story here before we.
You are the king of segues. You've been doing this a long time.
I really try.
Yeah.
You know what? Our good friend of the show, Justin Clue, actually told me at one point, he's like, you can do a segue better than just about anybody in the podcasting world. It made me feel so good. I was like, oh my God, what a compliment coming from Justin Clue.
Of all of our guests, he would have been the one I would have made that comment.
Yes.
Because he pulls the curtain back kind of guest. Like he just says shit. Yeah. I like him.
I went from one topic to the next. He goes, Jeff, I don't know if there's anybody that does a better segue than you at this point in the podcast world. That made me feel so good.
Huge compliment.
It was. Yes. This Philadelphia 76ers team, look, there have been some surprises for sure. There's positives, there's negatives. We're going to get into a lot of that with our good friend Harrison Grimm from LibertyBallers.com in just a bit. But I think something that's really surprised me this year, Eric, with this team is that I don't know if we're going to be getting into it with Harrison as well, but we haven't been seeing as much of Jared McCain than I thought we were going to be seeing of him this year. And it's kind of surprising in a way to me, given how he played last year before his injury. And there are a lot of different dynamics happening with this team right now. And things are a little bizarre how Nick Nurse how he coaches this team and how he kind of lets guys just kind of do what they want. But not giving Jared McCain the type of minutes that I thought he was going to get. I don't know. I'm really surprised with it. And again, that's a surprise that I have. And I'm also surprised by the fact that, Joel Embiid he doesn't appear to be the most necessary person on this team for the team to be competitive. And I'm kind of surprised by that as well. And it's early in the season. Look, when Joel is out there on the floor, the team is, quote, better, I think. But I really am starting to believe that the team doesn't necessarily need him to be competitive too. There's a lot of interesting dynamics going on this season, stuff that we didn't think was going to be happening.
It's a lot of elephant in the room kind of situations right now with the Sixers.
Okay.
When you watch them without Embiid, like they're so fast up and down the court early in the season, right?
Yep.
Like Nick Nurse decided to run a really fast pass first offense, and it really worked in the beginning of the year when they went 5-1, and it was really striking when Embiid was in there, and not quite Embiid. He was really slow.
Yeah,
I mean that's who he is now, but it really stood out. Like, oh my God, this guy is this guy's the elephant in the room. It's like he can't move. It's like you're trying to run a fast break, and it's like, hey, big man, get the fuck out of the way.
Get out of the way,
right? Yeah, go stand by the rim and dunk it, or get a rebound. We don't need you, right? Which is sad because he's fucking 30, whatever.
Yeah, which he's been doing more of too, by the way. Being around the rim, which is actually that's kind of nice.
So after they got through that and he started kind of find his role, he scored 21 points one game, he had 25 the other, all in 25 to 27 minutes because that's his limit.
Yeah,
it was like, okay, I think they kind of found something here. Like he's protecting the rims, getting rebounds, and he's getting his shots, not dumb shots, not those long threes.
Yeah,
that he shouldn't be taking at all. It's like, it's okay if you make take their mid-range shots. We have plenty of 3-point shooters, right? But of course, it was working out, and then now all of a sudden he's game time decision over and over and over with his knee, and we all kind of knew that was coming. So that's why I want to segue into Paul George. It's like, God, we need this guy to either play well with the Sixers or play well so we can trade him, because that's where they are with him. He played 2 nights ago, made a couple threes, looked okay on defense. He actually fits in with what they want to do right now. You know, they have no size without Embiid.
Yeah.
And even adding Paul George to this, like you still have no size in rebounding. They out-rebounded the Raptors tonight by 11 rebounds, but still, that's not their strength. There are a lot of wings. And having said that, like if you had Paul George in this game, they have a lot of long wings on the Raptors side. He could have played defense on them, could have really helped out with the rebounding and creating some fast breaks, you know, down the floor, which is, you know, he's older. His knees aren't the best. Let the young guys like fast break and you play defense and make a couple threes. To not have him in tonight's game is like kind of eye-opening. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure like what, without those two, they're kind of in quicksand, honestly, because you can only score so many points and play so much defense with a 6'2" guard and a 6'5" guard. And your centers, Andre Drummond, who can only play like 30 minutes a game, and your power forwards like 6'7", like 6'7". Geez, that's like the fourth 6'7" joke. Like, what are we 13, Jeff? Like, what the hell? But yeah, like that's what jumped out tonight is like the biggest thing for me is like what the hell is this team right now? Like if those guys aren't going to play. Are we just going to speedball this game and just be up and down the court, try to out-rebound, play the best defense we can? We did play a team that's better than people think. Like, they're 10-5. Like, it wasn't the worst loss.
The Raptors are surprising people this
year. They're pretty good. Scotty Barnes has stepped up. He looks really good this year. They have the Bucks, I think, tomorrow night and a back-to-back without Giannis. They should win that game, honestly. So, right now, it's like, I don't know what to think about this team. I'm definitely an Edgecombe stan. I love Maxey. I think McCain's gonna take some time. That is a brutal injury he had. Is his first ever torn knee. And then he like dislocated his thumb too.
Yeah.
I was okay with him going to Delaware for a game or two because he needed the reps. I'm hoping he can get back on the court. Nurse can kind of find a spot for him on the floor. He looked kind of lost out there, to be honest with you. I really wish our second round pick, Broom, who's 6'11", 240, could actually, like, you know, maybe play a little bit. Hasn't played once this year, I think.
Right. Yeah.
So like, right now, this team's kind of a mystery, but like I'm still positive about them.
They're still entertaining. They're still fun to watch. Actually,
not like the Eagles. Like I love the Birds, right?
Yes.
But this team's actually fun to watch, even though they're the worst third quarter team in all of the NBA.
Oh, it's brutal.
I don't see the stats. Like they got outscored by 20 points in the third quarter. Just
they have to
disgusting.
Be the worst third quarter team. In
Awful.
The league. They have to be.
They suck in the first quarter, come back in the second, get crushed in the third, and then try and come back in the fourth. I said to you before the show, it's like they're not getting blown out, which shows competitiveness and that's what you kind of want to see from a young team. But like, you can't keep shitting the bed in the third quarter and be like, well, I guess we got to come back from 14 to the fourth.
Right.
It just takes so much energy. And, and that's where I'm concerned as a Sixers fan. Like, how much can you play Maxey and Edgecombe minutes wise? Like, they both played 39 minutes tonight to come back in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That has hamstring, Achilles injuries just written all over it. And that either of those two go down, I'll be talking Flyers a lot in this show because the team's going down the fucking tubes. And by the way, we don't have our first pick. It goes to OKC. So
yes. Yeah. Well, it's going to be, look, it's still fun. We're still enjoying watching this team, and we're still going to be talking about this Sixers team in just a few more minutes after the break. Eric, I'm going to let you go. You got any final thoughts, buddy, before we head out here?
Nah. Harrison, though, awesome Twitter follower.
Yes.
Or Twitter follow. Great basketball analysis.
Absolutely.
I'll start doing the interviews with you sometime again, maybe.
Oh, that'd be fun.
You used to ask like 2 years ago, and then it just kind of stopped.
It kind of did. I mean, coordinating three folks' schedules during the course of like our work days at times, like in all transparency, I have a lot of flexibility with my job. I've got a great boss, and she's like, I don't care when you get your work done. Just get your work done. Doesn't, she's like, just get it done. So yeah, I can do interviews during the day. It's not like that for everybody out there.
No.
So yeah.
If you ever interview that kid again, you just let me know. The Sixers kid.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't know if I want to say the name. I know the name though.
The greatest interview of all time.
That was the first interview you ever did. I remember. And it was, he sounded high.
I remember texting you going, do they all go like this? Like, what the fuck are we talking? This is so bad.
It was horrendous. All right, we're going to get to break here. We're going to get to break. Follow us on social sites out there. Instagram, Twitter /X. I'm over on TikTok, like our Facebook page. Threads. Eric and I are over on Blue Sky as well. Just search us out over there, folks. And we're going to take a break here.
I'm going to go back tonight and find that show.
Oh, God, yes.
I just want to hear the interview again.
Yes. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Sixers talk. All right, and joining us to dive into this Philadelphia 76ers team in more detail, we've got our good friend from LibertyBallers.com, Harrison Grimm. My friend, thank you so much for taking the time to jump on. You're always great to jump on. Always a great discussion with you, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on. Fortunately, we got a healthy sample size now. I know we did some previews heading into the year. Got some good, got some bad to talk about. So,
yep,
of course.
let's get into it. I mean, look, this 76ers team, as we are recording this, they are 8-5 on the season. And quite frankly, if you had told me that they'd be at 500 before the season started, I would probably be surprised at this point. We're seeing some good stuff, like you said. We're seeing some not so good stuff. So let's dive into the biggest positive and the biggest negative facing this 76ers team. Let's start off with the biggest positive. Start the discussion on a positive note. What's the biggest positive for this team that you've seen thus far here, Harrison?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I think there's really two answers you could have for this, and I'm not really sure which one I'd pick. The first of which is VJ Edgecombe. This is a guy who I raved about quite a bit on your show over the summer. And quite frankly, he's better than what I expected for year one. He's ahead of schedule. And I know there's some pretty big fluctuation kind of from his night-to-night performance, but you see that a lot with young guards. But this guy just finds ways to make impacts on the games, and particularly when they played the Raptors earlier in the season. They play the Raptors tonight, obviously.
Yep.
But earlier in the season, they hosted the Raptors, and VJ struggled for much of that game. I think he was shooting like 1 of 10 at one point. But he found ways to stick into the game. He's found ways to hit big shots or make an impact defensively. The Celtics game where he had the block on Jaylen Brown. And that's not something you really see much from rookie guards. If rookie guards are able to put together consistent performances, and by consistent, I don't necessarily mean shooting percentage-wise, but just finding ways to consistently impact the game, that's usually a good sign. A good example of this was SGA's rookie year, where his stats don't jump off the page, but he was consistently putting up 10, 5, and 5. And that's what we're seeing VJ do. In fact, VJ's averaging, I believe, just a hair under 16, 5, and 5. So he's been an overwhelming positive. And I think the other answer that you could also say for this would be Tyrese Maxey. And this is a guy who went from all-star caliber, maybe fringe all-star, even to all NBA. And there's not many guys that you can put above him for this season, especially at the guard position. I think the only two that you can comfortably put above him is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the reigning MVP, and Luka Doncic, who's obviously a tremendous player. Other than that, he's right there with anyone. And seeing him take this jump and kind of take this mantle of being the alpha, being the number one guy, he's done a tremendous job. It is not an easy burden. Not many people can make that jump. And we're seeing this guy make the jump, and it's leading to wins.
Yeah, and you talked about consistency and what Tyrese Maxey has given to the consistency aspect of this team, where he is able to say, and we're certainly going to get into some of the older players on this team, Joel Embiid, Paul George, we're going to dive into them. But Tyrese Maxey is essentially telling us, Harrison, this can be my team. This can be my team for the future. And I think that is something that is comforting, at least for me as a 76ers fan. I know for a ton of other 76ers fans as well, this is going to be his team at some point down the road. Like, it is going to be the Maxey team. But on the flip side of things, yes, these are great positives. VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, their contributions on the court. What's the biggest negative here that you have seen thus far from this 76ers team?
Yeah, I think when you talk negatives when it comes to the Sixers, it always kind of relates to Paul George and Embiid in relation to their health. And, we've seen Joel a little bit, should see him again soonish, maybe. Paul George is obviously making his return. So we've beat that horse dead. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm actually going to talk about something more from an X's and O's standpoint, and that's the lack of really a system when it comes to Nick Nurse's Philadelphia 76ers and their offense. And Nick Nurse is known for essentially having guys do whatever they want in his office. His ideology is you try really hard on defense, you lock down on defense, and you're rewarded by doing the things that you want to do on offense. I think Kawhi Leonard had a quote, or it was a Pat Bev story where Kawhi leaned over to Pat Bev when they were playing the Sixers, and he was on the Sixers, and he was like, "Hey, Pat Bev, like, you like Nick Nurse's offense and how you can do whatever you want?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's great." I think it's a story like that, but we've really kind of seen the negative side of that shine through, and it certainly has its negatives in a normal kind of team circumstance. But obviously, the Sixers aren't normal. And we're seeing guys come in and out of the lineup. You're seeing Joel in the lineup. You're seeing Drummond start, Bona start. You're seeing wing rotation where Kelly Oubre was doing a lot. Now he's out. Justin Edwards has to step up. And when you have all these interchanging parts, it certainly shows on some nights more than others. And that's an area that I think the coaching staff simply has to do better. And yes, the Sixers certainly have their fair share of injuries. It's not the most ideal circumstances, but there certainly are workarounds to that. You can certainly draw up things that are easy to plug players into and get them going, or simple stuff. And the Sixers do like a lot of three-man weave at the top of the key. That's something they frequently do if you really pay attention to it in games. And stuff like that, it helps, but I would like to see them be more creative, think outside of the box, and do stuff that any guy can really adapt to on this roster. Yeah,
it's a beautiful segue into the next aspect of our discussion here, which is, what really can be done about this negative. How can they improve upon it? If you can go into it in more detail, because essentially I feel like this team has certain aspects of an identity, and then other aspects they don't have an identity based on what you're talking about, Harrison. So how can they improve on this negative that you're talking about here with regard to Nick Nurse and his system, the quote lack of identity? How can they improve this moving forward?
Yeah, and there's really only one answer to this, and it's kind of a cop-out answer, but guys just have to be consistently available. And I don't necessarily mean every game. Joel Embiid's not going to play every game. Paul George is probably not going to play back-to-backs. But it really does boil down to that. Now, in terms from an X's and O's standpoint, I think they really have to establish a rotation. And on one hand, I can appreciate Nick Nurse for giving guys opportunities. We've even seen Eric Gordon on the court for certain stretches. And coming from Doc Rivers, who would never play certain guys, I do appreciate that to a certain extent. But in terms of developing chemistry and finding things that work, you ultimately have to have guys play together. You have to develop that chemistry.
Yeah.
And his approach with Jared McCain in particular, someone who more or less was going to have a big role with this team heading into the year. That's what most of us thought. That's what I thought.
Yes.
He's playing like 5 minutes every night.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. That could also be a negative, honestly.
It is a negative. I actually thought you were going to go that route, to be honest with you. I love the route you initially went. I thought you were going to go the Jared McCain route, because that's what I was thinking. And you're absolutely right. 5 minutes per an average per night. Like
it's ridiculous.
That's malpractice.
Yeah. At that point, I feel like you're better off just not playing him. Just let him get G League reps, which they have been doing as of late. but it's really tough to develop a system or develop consistency without guys being consistent.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that quote kind of sums it up.
Yeah. I think it's a great answer for taking that negative you're talking about, how they can improve upon it. It's not like it can't be done. I mean, it certainly can be done. If there is a will, there's a way. And if Nick Nurse wants to implement more of what you're talking about, he certainly can. So, I also think that as we're moving along with the conversation, that, we've seen a lot of different types of surprises with this Sixers team as well. And I think for me, one of the biggest surprises, it's not necessarily Joel Embiid's health. We knew it was going to be a challenge coming in, but I think one of the biggest surprises is that this team doesn't necessarily need a, quote, fully healthy Joel Embiid, at least early on here in this season, to really be competitive game in and game out. I mean, this is an overall competitive type of team that we've seen thus far. A lot of close games. What has been the biggest surprise for you so far this season, Harrison?
Man, I mean, that's a good question, because I think the least surprising thing was Paul George and Joel and the questionable availability.
Yeah.
So I think I have to go back to Tyrese Maxey. I raved about VJ Edgecombe for that first answer. Let me circle back on Tyrese Maxey, who, again, he's taken this mantle and he's shown that, like, this is my team, get on my back. We're if we're not winning this game, we're at least going to make it a game.
Right.
And that's been the biggest surprise, because last season, when there was all those injuries, there were good moments with Tyrese Maxey, and there were certainly bad ones where he was getting blitzed, panicking a bit with the ball, struggling against double teams, struggling to consistently score, and none of that has been a problem thus far. It's truly been remarkable to see. A lot of it has to do with him mastering the pull-up jumper. We know he's always been a good catch and shoot guy. His pull-up jumper metrics are off the charts. Last I checked, he was shooting something like 41 up to 44%. I don't know quite
That's
what
crazy.
that number is, yeah. But that's a great number to be at.
Yeah.
For a guy shooting off the dribble. So I think Tyrese has hands down been the biggest surprise, just in that aspect that some guys can't make the jump necessarily from all-star to all-NBA. If you think about it, like, all-NBA more or less is the top 15 guys in the league.
Yeah.
And that is a hard jump to make. And that's not a knock against Tyrese Maxey. It's a really hard jump to make.
Because you look at where he was drafted. You look at where he was drafted and overall expectations. Yes, growth every single year. We have seen that, and we've all been excited about that growth, saying, wow, he's really turning into an exceptional type of player. But like you said, all NBA, we never thought that.
Yeah, like, I thought, it's difficult to really gauge what a prospect can or can't be.
Right.
If it was easy, like, everybody would hit on draft picks, nobody would miss.
Right.
But thinking Tyrese would get to this point, let alone when he's age 25, is just really impressive, because theoretically his best years are still ahead of him. The basketball prime is typically age 27 to 30. So I think he's hands down been the biggest surprise for me personally.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer. And again, folks, we're talking to Harrison Grimm from LibertyBallers.com, at Harrison_Grimm on Twitter/X. Are you out there on any other social platforms that you want to let folks know about there, Harrison?
Yes, sir. I am on Blue Sky. Same handle. Yep. Easy to find me.
All right. Sounds good. We are going to take a break, folks. When we get back, more 76ers talk coming your way. All right, we're back with our buddy Harrison Grimm from LibertyBallers.com. And we mentioned Joel Embiid, and we're going to get into Paul George as well. But first, with Joel Embiid, I mean, we have to keep talking about him. And it's a storyline that's just persistent. It seems like years and years and years at this point. But talking about what he has done, what he hasn't done, and where his playing time may go in the future, Harrison, because he's averaging almost 20 points per game when he's playing out there at about 23 minutes per game, which is honestly kind of impressive, to be honest, when he is out there again. How should we be viewing Joel Embiid at this point, what he actually means to this team and the team's future this season here?
Yeah, I think he's obviously an important part of this team. The Sixers are better with Joel Embiid than without him. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not a hot take. But in terms of gauging how he can fit in or how he can mesh with this team that is essentially on two different timelines, if you really think about it, you got obviously the abundance of guards who are 25 or less years old. And then you got Embiid and Paul George, and you got some older guys, but they aren't necessarily playing that much. So it's really two different timelines. And that's a difficult line to walk if you're an NBA team. And you can look across the NBA at other situations. The Golden State Warriors are a prime example of an aging team where they have some young guys, but at times it's been kind of messy in terms of actually leading to a winning product. So for Joel to really kind of fit with this young core, I would like to see him do more of the little stuff. And what I mean by that is like the stuff on defense. And he's someone who has really improved on his passing in the years to come. And that's an area I really think he can provide value. And we have seen it more or less from time to time. I believe he had like a fancy between the legs, behind the back pass to Tyrese, who drove into a three. Stuff like that. Like, that's what you want to see. And unfortunately, like, that's the areas he's kind of come up short on. And it's not really something we focused on in the past because it was a guy averaging 30 a game. The offense ran through him. He had the ball. But things are different now. He's aging. Injuries are starting to catch up. So things such as like screening, playmaking, getting deflections, some of the dirty work, I would like to see him pick that up more or less. And if he's able to do that, I actually think he can really blend well with the plethora of guards, with not just Maxey, but Quentin Grimes has had some nice moments. Obviously, we've talked about DJ Edgecombe. Hopefully Jared McCain can get back on the right track. If he's able to do that, I actually think he can age quite well with this roster. It's just a big if, because like I said, we haven't really seen much of that in the past. There's not much evidence to suggest he's even capable of doing it. But that's ultimately what's going to make or break Joel's future with this team.
He definitely has a role at this point, like you said, and this team is obviously better with him, especially when he's on the court. And one guy who I'm not 100% sure we can really say that about right now as we're recording this on November 19th, on this Wednesday, is Paul George, because even though he made his season debut this week, I mean, I do wonder how him coming now, playing on the court, how it could affect Quentin Grimes in the future as well. With how Quentin Grimes has been playing, I really wonder, Harrison, if Nick Nurse is going to cut Quentin Grimes' playing time for Paul George. You know, how does that affect Grimes' play this season and his consistency as well? I wonder if that would be a mistake. What are your thoughts here with this storyline?
Yeah, when it comes to Paul George and Quentin Grimes in particular, I'm not too worried about Paul George impacting Quentin's minutes. And I say that because the Sixers' best lineup, and if I know this, they certainly do too. The Sixers' best lineup has been the 3-guard lineup with Grimes in there alongside VJ and Maxey. And that's something they're certainly going to lean into. I talked to you, I remember over the summer, there's a lot of talk about like, oh, like, is VJ going to impact Grimes, or is Grimes going to impact VJ? What about McCain? All this talk. And the two guys that I wasn't worried about meshing were VJ and Grimes. And that was just because those are two guys who are capable of doing stuff on both ends of the basketball. And we've seen a lot of that. We've seen a lot of success from that. When it comes to how Paul George can really mesh with this team is, and this is something also Nick Nurse has alluded to in the training camp, is Paul George playing more of the 4. And I certainly think you're going to see that. If you have Paul George at the 4 alongside VJ, alongside Grimes, Maxey, theoretically Embiid, or whatever center you want to put in there, that's 4 guys who are capable of handling the ball, 4 guys who are capable of getting their own shot, and 4 guys who are capable of doing a lot. So I'm actually pretty optimistic about his fit with those 3 guards. And obviously, I'm not trying to discount McCain. Right now, he's just not much of a factor. But I'm actually encouraged for what is to come with Paul George. I think he can be a really good addition. I don't think he'll take away anything from Grimes or anyone in particular. I am cautiously optimistic about that.
All right, sounds good. Well, to close us out here, I am somebody who absolutely loves watching defensive play on the floor. Doesn't matter if it's with the Sixers. When it comes to basketball, defensive play has always been, at the top of what I'm really looking at a lot, because I think it's a lost art in the NBA and has been for some time. That's an argument for another time and another interview and discussion with you. But Kelly Oubre Jr. now has a knee injury. He's going to be out for some time. I swear this team just can't catch a break when it comes to the injury bug here, Harrison, as we know. How did the Sixers handle losing this lack of defense, especially from a long-term perspective? Because it really could be a problem here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a shame that Kelly Oubre went down. He was playing some of the best basketball of his career again. And he's someone that, I think I said this on here before, but he's someone who's really good at filling in the gaps between talent.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're probably not going to see that, at least maybe for a week or two. We'll see what the Sixers say about that.
Yeah.
But in terms of replacing that defensive production, a lot of it is going to come down to, again, Paul George. He's going to be someone that has to defend probably the most difficult wing players any given night, maybe even some guards too, depending on the lineup. I imagine Grimes or VJ will get a lot of that work, but he's someone the Sixers are going to have to lean on from a defensive standpoint. And fortunately, it's a 1-game sample size, so take it with a grain of salt. But I did think defensively, he had some really nice moments in his season debut.
He did.
In terms of outside of him, it's going to be a really difficult guy to replace on the defensive end. And that's where Kelly Oubre, I don't think really gets enough flowers. A lot of people look at his warts, the lack of passing, the streaky shooting. But he's someone that consistently comes in every single night, does a lot of the dirty work, a lot of screen navigation, a lot of defense. And that's not something you can easily replace. So what the Sixers can do, there's a few different options. They're going to have to lean on Justin Edwards regardless. And he's not someone who's necessarily a defensive stopper. He's more of kind of a shot maker who can, get you a rebound here and there. But he's someone the Sixers are going to have to lean on because they're going to be without Paul George some nights. They're without Paul George tonight. He's someone that the Sixers need flat out at this point with Kelly Oubre gone. I'm sure you'll see a lot more Dominic Barlow now that he's back in the fold, and he's someone that does a lot of the dirty work. We see his activity on the defensive end, and he's someone that could potentially step up and not necessarily fill that role, but fill a lot of it. Jabari Walker is a different player than Barlow or Kelly Oubre, but he's someone that's going to have to do some of the dirty work. And if they don't get answers from any of those guys, I would not be shocked if they went and talk to some free agent wings, whether that's vets who are currently not on a roster, whether that's down in Delaware with the Blue Coats. Marjon Beauchamp in particular is someone that has stuck around the Sixers throughout the summer, is in Delaware right now. It's a low sample size, but he's hitting threes. And if he hits threes, he's a lot more of an intriguing player. So whether that's in-house, whether that's down in the G League, whether that's elsewhere, the Sixers are certainly going to have to find an answer one way or another.
Absolutely will. And what a great discussion here. I wish we had more time, man. It was great talking to you. Again, folks, Harrison Grimm from LibertyBallers.com at Harrison_Grimm. Find him on your social sites out there. My friend, it was great talking with you. Thanks so much, and I'd love to have you back on the show as always. Let's talk again.
For sure, man. Thanks for having me on.